The following program is brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
This is the Gold Standard from Midas Gold Group with Kenneth Russo. Hello, I'm Dave Dino. Welcome to the Gold Standard, your source for secure investment advice and information on the advantages of purchasing and owning precious metals. Whether you're a novice investor or an experienced collector, this is the program that gives you a realistic weekly perspective on the state of the economy, reliable information about using precious metals such as gold, silver, and platinum to safeguard your wealth, and remarkable details about specific precious metal coins and bullion. Ken Russo is a senior vice president at Midas Gold Group. His peers characterize him as a straight shooter who will work harder for you than anyone else. Today, the topic on the table is wealth destruction. First of all, Ken, welcome to the program. It's always great to spend time with you.
Yes, Dave, of course. I'm very happy to be here today.
This may very well be one of the most serious topics we've ever talked about, and I'll explain that because I'm watching in the news these days how the administration is spending trillions, literally in the multiple trillions of dollars. It's as if they think they have this checkbook with an unlimited overdraft protection. But I'm wondering, where does that overdraft protection come from? I think it comes from us, the taxpayer, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an unlimited debt. It's an unlimited situation that's not fixable. And let's just focus on where we are today. Stocks, bonds, real estate are all near record highs, which many see as a great period to have been an investor, which is terrific. But the question is where do we go from here? And that's what's important. We can't do anything about the last 10, 20 years, but we can make a decision on what's best for today going forward.
Ken, we have talked in previous programs about the direction of the U.S. economy and the uncertainty of the market. I am wondering, the more I see this, and as you describe it, I'm wondering if we are not seeing, unfortunately, a repeat of the market as it led up to the great crash back in the 20s.
Well, there has been some people that I follow, very well-established people that do see that. You're supposed to sell high and buy low, but most people don't do that. You know, it's greed.
We talk about stocks and bonds and all of that. What's going on right now?
Well, there's a lot of speculation. The joyride is right now. Cryptocurrencies and stocks over the last 10 years have provided huge gains. But the question is as an investor, do you want to speculate with 100% of your money? And there's a lot of people out there that don't. And when we see a market that is so high, I mean, there's only one way to go, very little upside and a lot of downside. I would alert people, Dave, that we are at historical highs in real estate, stocks, and bonds. Our dollar's always going to buy less. And the thing is you have to try and preserve and protect some of that. And what's one asset out there that you could hold on to yourself, where there's no third-party counter risk and is always kept up with inflation and held your buying power? And that's what I would like to talk to you about today.
We're talking about wealth destruction as you listen to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo. And I saw recently in some of your notes to me that 25% of the stock market is in just a couple of companies. Is that right?
It's very narrow. Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, Apple make up 25% right now of the stock market. So that means that a lot of these companies kind of hold the future of the movement of the market. And many of these companies just said to expect future growth to slow down. I mean, people have to understand that that's a very important statement. And for the first time, Dave, in 75 years, the combined earnings and dividend yields of the S&P 500 companies are negative in real terms. That means that as an investor, caution and defense right now are in order.
People describe this market as a bubble. What is creating the bubble?
Well, we've had decades of abnormally low interest rates, Dave, easy credit. We've had debt for decades. Now it's global. global debt. We've had artificially inflated real estate markets, bond markets, stocks. And the bottom line is you have to protect yourself. And physical gold, Dave, in bar form or coin form, has had a long track record of doing just that. Gold will get you, Dave, through chaos, and it'll get you through crisis.
You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. Ken, what does history tell us about bubbles and wealth destruction?
Well, they tell us they burst. We
Mm.
had a stock market bubble in 87, Dave, of course, and we all know what happened there. We had another bubble in 97 due to long-term capital, and another bubble in 2000 due to the dot-com bubble and overvaluations. We had another bubble in 2006 with the subprime crisis, and all of these bubbles left their mark.
So where are we heading today?
Well, like I said, we are in a money printing crisis. We have a debt crisis and a future dollar crisis. We have a market that's been inflated due to money creation out of thin air. Money's created by nothing. It's backed by nothing. It's money's created by the stroke of a computer key. We don't have a crystal ball. We're not financial, advisors, but I would say that a huge unfixable global debt situation is upon us. And I expect a huge drawdown over the next few years in a lot of these markets, and you have to protect your buying power somehow.
This is very, very worrisome. Where do we find ourselves then in light of all of this information?
Well, let's just look at the facts, Dave. I mean, you can't fix a debt situation by taking on or issuing more debt. That does not make sense. I mean, how on earth does that lead to a solution? If you look at the United States in 2020, the United States took in tax revenues of $3.4 trillion, but they spent $6.6 trillion.
Wow.
Now we have a pandemic, okay? The pandemic's made this bubble even bigger. We have many factors working against us here. And the bottom line is that we may never return to a full economy or workforce again, or it may take a very, very, very long time.
Ken, we are still in an ebb and flow pandemic. Hasn't that contributed to this deficit, and significantly so?
The pandemic is not the reason, Dave, but it's kind of sort of like a trigger. It's sort of like the Wizard of Oz that's been exposed, the guy behind the curtain. We've always had a debt problem. All of these past bubbles, though, which is the main point, they have burst. They have caused significant pain and drawdowns in equity. Yes, it came back for some, but for others, it was wealth destruction. It never came back. It was wealth that was gone forever. Not everyone, Dave, can afford to wait that out in this next cycle. And it can start at any time. That's the problem.
Ken, I've got a feeling that even with all of these signs of economic distress that we see in front of us, I've got a feeling that you always have a course of action suggestion coming up.
Well, we have a suggestion based on data and a long track record of protecting yourself. And as you might guess, Dave, it involves precious metals, gold and silver and platinum and other precious metals. Eager to share that information with you, and it's metals that you could own in your own possession.
It's very, very reassuring. First, though, coming up, we will have our featured precious metal product of the week. This is the Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by Midas Gold Group.
I'm here with Midas Gold Group's senior trader and Marine Corps veteran, James Clark. James, why are people investing in gold and silver?
Well, Dr. Gorka, the Federal Reserve supplies money to pay for congressional spending. As Congress expands spending, the Fed has no choice but to keep printing money at an accelerated rate. This causes the dollar to fall and gold to increase.
So as the Fed and Congress devalue the dollar, what can people do?
As the nation's #1 veteran-owned precious metals dealer, we offer diversification strategies in the form of precious metals. As Congress looks to the Fed for more money, investors look to gold and silver to protect their nest egg.
And I recommend that you look to Midas Gold Group for all your precious metal needs. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we're back with more of the Gold Standard, brought to you by Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. If you live, by the way, in the Los Angeles or the Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit one of our local offices to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, just call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. If you want to write that down by the numbers, it's 855-322-4653. Ken, over the past couple of weeks, we have looked at several beautiful, precious metal products. The gold American Eagle, the gold Maple Leaf, the gold Buffalo, and the silver American Eagle, to name a few. Today, we're going to venture down under to take a look at the gold Kangaroo, which I think would make an impressive addition to anyone's collection. What do you find so interesting about this?
Gold, Dave, first of all, to the people listening, gold should be looked at as money. Should not be looked at solely as an investment or a speculation. But we like the gold Kangaroo because it's known as the gold nugget, but it's a hefty 1-ounce gold bullion coin. It's in brilliant uncirculated condition. The coin, Dave, actually holds legal tender status in Australia. It is one of the select few legal tender bullion coins to change their design every year, which is very unique. Yeah. And due to their limited annual mintage, unlike many other bullion coins that we've talked about before, their numismatic value may rise over the value of the actual weight of the gold itself.
When I add it to my collection, what will it look like when I receive it?
Very unique coin. It displays all of the things considered Australian, such as the great outdoors, a unique fauna, gold itself. On the reverse surface, it features a very uniquely drawn kangaroo with the Perth Mint's traditional P mark. On the other side, you have a image of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, along with inscriptions of the face value and purity of the coin. The coin, Dave, has a $100 Aussie dollar face value. It's a 1-ounce coin. It's 24 karat gold. It is legal tender under the Australian Currency Act of 1975. It's a great coin. It is accepted inside of a gold IRA. It's something that you could actually hold yourself. It's a great addition to anybody's portfolio.
Well, as I said earlier, it is indeed an impressive addition to anyone's collection. I really like this one. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to talk specifically about that course of action suggestion that you have to avoid wealth destruction. You're listening to The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.
Sebastian Gorka here. The Biden-Harris administration is governing through an unprecedented number of executive orders. We have a good idea of what their agenda means for the country and for your finances. More debt, more regulations, slower growth, and higher taxes. There's even talk of a digital wallet currency and a so-called Great Reset. With massive new spending programs, the Fed is printing money even faster than before. This will likely cause the dollar to fall and gold prices to rise. That's why it's never been more important to own physical gold and silver, and the dealer I trust to do business with is veteran-owned Midas Gold Group. The experts at Midas Gold can even help you convert a portion of your IRA into physical gold and silver to stabilize your portfolio against the coming storm. Call Midas Gold Group for their guide to owning bullion and coins today. 855-322-GOLD. That's 855-322-4653 or MidasGoldGroup.com.
And we continue now with the Gold Standard, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group with Ken Russo. I'm Dave Dino. By the way, if you live in the Los Angeles or Phoenix area, we encourage you to visit our local office to meet with us in person. For the address and directions, just log on to our website, MidasGoldGroup.com. That's MidasGoldGroup.com. And for those of you listening in other cities, call us directly at 855-322-GOLD. 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. So far today, we have talked about the danger of wealth destruction, and we've highlighted a beautiful gold coin, the Australian gold Kangaroo. Now, Ken, let's turn our attention back to the issue of the danger of wealth destruction in today's American and even international economies. You have given us a vivid picture of the causes for serious concern. What now can we do, what can an investor do to get through this upcoming wealth destruction?
Well, first of all, realize where we are, that the bubble is now probably the mother of all bubbles that we're going to see in our lifetime. It will burst as it has before, and many people will not recover. So that's important to realize. What an investor can do is pull some assets, Dave, out of the banking system. You could pull some assets out of the markets. You can get out of some cash. You can get some retirement accounts out of stocks and out of bonds. You can diversify into physical gold and other precious metals. You could be proactive and not reactive. I mean, these moves have to be made now before the chaos. And I'll repeat, Dave, so people understand what we're talking about there. IRAs, retirement accounts, retirement assets, cash, paper assets right now are overvalued, and they are all at significant risk.
I know a lot of people, they don't trust the market, and they really don't trust any of the investments that are offered to them. So they just take their money and they just keep the money, the cash. But you're saying that that's a losing proposition as well.
Well, it's going to definitely buy less in the future. You're not going to get any return. And with the debt situation that we're in right now, the dollar could crash, as we've spoken in many previous shows. If not, it's going to lose significant value. I mean, it's a guarantee the dollar will buy less in the future. And when this bubble bursts, Dave, not everybody has the time or the stomach to go through that again. And that's exactly what we're talking about. Those decisions have to be made right now. Gold is down. It's cheap. When we look at all the money that's been printed, it's a buy. You should be making those moves now. Don't wait until it's too late.
Ken, you have told us that the writing is, so to speak, on the wall again, but this bubble is going to be even bigger and more explosive than the previous ones that you cited in recent history. Not everyone has the time or stomach or resources to go through all of that again.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's the main point that we're talking about today, Dave. And that's why it's so important. Gold is right for many people who are listening to us today. It will get you through the next financial situation. It'll get you through chaos. And that's what we're talking about, because it's on its way.
Let's talk about the process for just a moment. We've got some extra time today in today's program where I wanted to make sure that not only are we talking about the threat, and not only are we talking about the solution, but I want to talk about the how people can actually do this. I mean, a lot of folks who are listening to us right now, as I said at the beginning of the program, are novices when it comes to this issue of precious metals. Most people have never really dipped their toe into this pond, so to speak. And so it can be just downright scary to them because they don't know what they're getting into, and there is always a matter of trust. So let's walk through, if we can, for just a moment, being a novice investor in precious metals. And I hear the program and I say, that all makes sense, but I really need to know more. I need more assurance. I need to know that this is really a wise thing to do. I pick up the phone, I call you. What happens next?
Well, we'll get to know our clients, Dave, very well. It's important to know each and every situation for each and every client. Everybody's a little different. We will listen to their concerns, what's keeping them up at night, what they feel over the next 10 or 20 years could or could not make or break their nest egg for themselves or future generations. We can give them some suggestions on how they can diversify and hold their buying power, hold their purchasing power through the ownership of gold and silver and different precious metals. And that could be from liquid money, say at the bank or with your advisor, or it could mean a retirement account. Maybe you have an IRA or an old 401k. But it starts with the phone call. It starts with a conversation. There's nothing to be afraid about. Everybody was a beginner at one time in anything. No one's born an expert. And it takes some time to build a relationship. But you need somebody to work for you when it comes to defense. And right now, with the bubble being so big, and the upcoming situation being fairly dire with all this printed money out of thin air, it's absolutely necessary that you have somebody to work with that could work on preserving your nest egg, Dave.
You talked about owning gold. We can own it physically, or we can own a gold IRA, right?
Yes, you could own gold. Everything we do is physical. Everything we do is in physical form. We don't have any type of stock in gold or ETFs or paper gold or anything like that. We believe if you don't hold it, you don't own it. We want diversification, Dave. With this market, it is so dangerous. It's absolutely imperative that people pull some money out of the bank, get out of some paper, get out of some stock, roll over an old 401k plan, transfer an IRA into physical gold. And physical gold and silver over the next 5 years will hold your buying power, and it should go up a lot in value. It will hold your purchasing power. Why? Because that's what it's always done.
Can a person, you talk about transfer from an old IRA, can a person, if they have a 401k, can they transfer money out of that into physical gold?
Yes, if you're over a certain age, or if it's a previous employer, usually retirement accounts can be rolled over without a tax event occurring, and you can take that account or a part of that account and convert it into physical gold and silver. If you have an IRA, it's a very easy transfer where you could use those funds to now have a retirement account with physical metals in it. But like I said, we don't expect our clients to understand how to do that. But what we would ask them to do is to not have any fear, call in. We can talk about some of their options. They can tell us about some of their fears, and we can put together a plan. And we have to do that now before everything starts to come down.
So let's say I'm going to, as I said earlier, dip my toe into the pond, and I'm going to start with maybe $50,000. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to give you $50,000, and you are going to actually send me the physical gold. Number one, how do I know it's going to get to me? That's a lot of money of gold out there somewhere. How do I know it's going to get to me? And how do I store it securely?
Well, that's what we do. I mean, that's how we've built our name. We're the nation's #1 veteran-owned gold and silver dealer, and we build relationships. So we need to be trustworthy. We need to have the fastest delivery possible. We don't have any middlemen. We buy our metals directly from the mint. We deliver them to our clients through FedEx Insured or UPS Insured or the U.S. Post Office privately and discreetly. Some of our clients have a safe. Some of our clients have a depository account where they hold their metals at a depository. Some clients, believe it or not, Dave, bury their metals in the backyard. But the point is that, the point is that you have to have diversification and you have to have control. And we allow our clients through conversations and through a relationship to have diversification and to have control of some of their money in the form of precious metals. We'll walk them through it. We'll hold their hand. It takes some time, but it's worth it. It will get you through the next financial crisis because that's what it's always done.
And Midas Gold Group can help you diversify some of your assets to protect you from wealth destruction. And that is going to bring us to the end of our time together today here on The Gold Standard with Ken Russo, brought to you by the Midas Gold Group. A reminder, advice given here is not intended to be specific to your investment strategy, but rather general information to give you a better understanding of investing in precious metals. For answers to your questions, call Midas Gold Group at 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. By the numbers 855-322-4653. And the website is MidasGoldGroup.com. By the way, the Midas Gold Group is proud to be America's #1 veteran-owned gold dealer, supporting veterans' causes with a portion of the profits donated to the Wounded Warriors Project and Semper Fi Fund. So your investment in your future is also an investment in the future of those who have bravely served the cause of freedom. Again, the number to call to speak directly with Midas Gold Group is 855-322-GOLD, 855-322-GOLD. I'm Dave Dino. Ken, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure, Dave.
Join us again next week at the same time for another edition of The Gold Standard.
The Gold Standard was brought to you by the Midas Gold Group.